JRTV is here for the 29th race of the 2004 NASCAR Next Level Cup Series season at the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas for the Banquet 400. This is only the fourth time we've come here to the Kansas Speedway, but it's more worn out than we've seen over the last few years. The tires are falling off a little bit more as we saw in practice, and we'll see which driver can make use of this more worn-out Kansas to find victory lane here in 2004. I'm Joe Rakowski, alongside me with Trey Bardo. Trey, this is a track you never got to race at. It was new to the schedule in 2001. We've had a few races here. It's worn out a little bit. You know, a little bit softer tire that Goodyear's brought this year. A little bit more tire fall off. We'll see maybe about a second and a quarter to a second and a third of tire fall off. Not like we saw last race at Lowe's where it was over 3 seconds, but it could still come into play over the course of a long run here today.
Yeah, definitely never count out, the tire wear at races like this. It definitely could come into a factor. So if you're saving the tires, you could come to the front, and you never know what will happen once you're at the front of the pack.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that plays out. And for our championship contenders, it could be an interesting start of the race because we saw back in 2001, this race got a little bit chaotic. 2002, a little bit less chaotic. Last year, not very much chaotic, but for Tim, Gary, and Luke Rainey, they're in kind of, they're starting well inside the top 10, both of them, but they're in some scenarios where it could go bad for them. Tim starts 8th on the outside. Luke Rainey starts 10th on the outside. So if they get shuffled back, a little bit further back and a crash happens, they're on the outside of it, they can't avoid it, they could get involved. And for Luke, this could be a big start for him. If he gets a good start, Tim doesn't, he could put Tim in an uncomfortable position, maybe shoot the middle, put Tim up top 3 wide. On the flip side of that, Matheus Wells, who was going to start right by them in 12th, failed inspection after qualifying. He starts all the way back in 41st place here today. The only good news for him, Trey, is that this race 2 seasons ago when he was bound with Chris Jericho's teammate for the championship, Jericho started up inside the top 10, raced up there all day. Matheus came from the back because of inspection, and he ended up beating Jericho that day and gaining points in the 18 car.
Yeah, so, never count yourself out if you're at the back and you're not having a good day, because you never know what could happen or what could flip. But yeah, it's a very unknowing racetrack. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how it plays out, and obviously with the more worn out stuff and more tire wear, we'll have to see how that impacts the racing throughout the pack and how that impacts Matheus Wells being able to come from the pack, along with Sarah Kirshner, who also was set to start decently here today, but failed inspection. She'll start all the way back in 42nd here today. And at the front, we talked about this championship battle all going on. There are drivers at the front of the field that don't care about that. They just want their first wins of the season or their first wins in a while or just some momentum to pick up. Roberto Crown Jr. hasn't won this season, hasn't won since 2001. He starts on pole surprisingly here in the number 43 car. Had a few good races, a few races to go. Last 2 races have been anything but good. We'll see if he can try and rebound here today. His teammate Hunter Reed is on the opposite end of the spectrum, was actually the slowest car in qualifying. Jordan Stout surprisingly hasn't won yet this season. Justin Seidel hasn't won since 2000. Chris Jericho, very bad summer months. He's looking to rebound. Conrad Evans, runner-up last race at Lowe's, hasn't won since Talladega last season. Jerry Chen hasn't won this season at Texas, but has not been anywhere near consistent enough to contend, and the list goes on and on as we look down the field. So I have to see these drivers at the front. A lot of them are desperate. A lot of them looking for their first wins of the season or just something to go their way for the first time in a long time. So I have to see how it all plays out here today at the Kansas Speedway as we'll go take a look at the track facts. Beautiful September day for racing here in Kansas. Clear sunny skies, 75 degrees, and a little bit of wind. This racetrack is a 1.5 miles in length. That's 2.41 kilometers. It'll be a 54-lap race. That's 81 miles. In the fuel window, they'll go past the midway point at 30 to 34 laps. We'll see how that plays into the race here today. And there's 14 degrees of banking in the corners, 10.4 degrees on the front stretch, and 5 degrees on the back straight. And now we'll take a look at the 8 drivers going home in the Banquet 400. Skylar Taylor, the 09. Matt Tuck, for the first time in a long time in the 23 car, has missed a race. David Dixon, Nathan Ormond, Nathan Steepleton, Marcus Lerb, Tegan Fox, and Angel Gutierrez, the 8 drivers that missed the race here today at the Kansas Speedway. So we'll go down trackside, fire the cars up for the 2004 Banquet 400, the 4th ever NASCAR Next Level Cup Series race here at the Kansas Speedway.
Let's get it started. Drivers, start your engines!
The field of 42 paces off pit road, and there you see Matheus Wells all the way at the back, 3rd in points. Can he try and close in on those front two in the championship? all the way mid-pack. Evan Hunter starting in 17th as the audience picked to win here today. He's been bad here at Kansas. 31.0 is his average finish in 3 starts. No finish better than 24th, but with 37% of the vote, the audience thinks he can get the victory lane here today. Trey, who's your pick to win here today at the Kansas Speedway?
I'm going to go 2 rows up from the 36er on the outside lane, the 97 of Jay Rando. I know he's been a little quiet recently, but those Roush cars are always fast, and I think he's going to find a way to get himself the victory lane here today. 2
wins to start the season. Hasn't won since, however. 5 top 10s in the last 8 races, looking to make it 6 for 9 here today and move himself back up inside the top 10 of the points. I'll go a few rows up from yours and pick Justin Atkins, winner of this race in 2002, and on a stretch of 3 straight races, 11th or better this season. I think the number 3 currently inside the top 5 in points, can gain some more points and maybe try and move up to 4th place in front of Layton Strickland here today. But at the front, a lot of drivers looking for the first wins of the season, like Crown Jr., Stout, Zidell, and Evans. The green flag is waving. Let's go in Kansas. Trey, what a jump from Crown Jr. getting away from the side-by-side battle behind him as Zidell clears in 2nd. Evans is going to get to 3rd. He brings teammate Kukulon to 4th, and their other teammate Atkins up to 5th as they come off 4th for the first time. Crown Jr. leads the first lap from pole, Zidell in 2nd, Evans in 3rd, and Tim Gary trying to get down in line in that number 10 car as everyone scrambles to turn 1. Tim is in line, and so is Luke Rainey, so they're already down low train, trying to move their way up further inside the top 10.
Yeah, these guys are still jockeying for position. They got to be careful with the pack this close together. One small mistake can ruin your day. So everyone's got to give themselves room. You can see the 28 setting it into the bottom lane there as Eli Bright almost had to check up there, kind of stacked everyone up on that inside line. So right now, I think these guys are just kind of feeling out what their car's like in traffic, as well as trying to get as many positions as they can, because, Joe, you know, this initial start just means everything.
Look at this big battle. Atkins got the spot from teammate Kukulon. Might cost them both spots because DeLello moves low in the 29, looking low in the 3 as well. And further back behind that, Tim Gary. Up now to the inside of Kukulon for 6th, bringing Luke Rainey to 7th. So those two started 8th and 10th on the outside. It actually helped them. They've got spots, they've got down low, and they're still moving forward. So those two, front two in the championship, 146 points separates them. Luke needs to do everything to stay with his number 10 car and not let him get away, because that's what's happened the last few races. Talladega, you know, obviously Talladega, Luke won the race and Tim finished inside the top 5, but especially last race at Lowe's, they played the same strategy, ran around each other all day long. And when the pay window opened, when the end of the race came, that final run, Tim and Luke on the same strategy, on the same tires, basically in the same position. Tim drove up inside the top 5, and Luke stayed where he was and didn't move anywhere.
Yeah, but Luke's got to be careful here. He can't push his stuff too much because, I mean, like you mentioned, Joe, it only might be a second to a second and a half of fall off, but that's still quite a bit. So if you ruin your tires too early into this run before pit stops happen, you could lose more spots than what it's worth, right? So we'll have to see what all settles out from there. But this lead, Joe, it is heating up right now.
That was a big battle through turns 1 and 2. Zidell barely got low on Crown Jr. I thought they were going to make contact, but the two got it cleanly, clears, and leads the 5th lap. So our first lead change of the day goes to Zidell. But Atkins is there looking low into turns 1 and 2 for himself as he tries to move to the bottom, but can't quite get there. He drives in a little bit deeper, but the 2 keeps the spot. Here comes Luke Rainey, being very aggressive here, got by Tim Gary, now looking to get by Crown Jr. as well. That number 43 kind of falling back from his initial starting spot on pole. He'll get down in line in front of that number 88. So Luke will keep 5th for now, bringing Eli Bright. Here comes Crown Jr. Already back low on DeLello as they come off turn 4 and up front for the lead. Atkins is low on Zidell, so 2 Justins go at it. Atkins to the inside, Zidell into turns 1 and 2, has the preferred lane and should be able to get that pass made, and there he goes.
Oh, big checkout from the guys on the outside. Oh my goodness, that was closer than I think they all wanted it to be.
DeLello and Luke Rainey almost got together with Eli Bright and Tim Gary also in tow. Tim is now basically pushing Luke into the corner. Those two are the front two in the championship, but right now, Tim is not racing like he has the points lead. And maybe it's because he hasn't won yet this season, Trey. How can he be the champion and not win this late to the season? Well, so far, Tim is trying to do that, but maybe he wants to get this win here today and show, listen, I can also win races while also being a very consistent points racer.
Yeah, I've said it once, I've said it twice. I think I'm up to 10 times so far this season. Consistency is key, and Tim Gary is the most consistent out of everyone here. And like you said, my evidence to back that up is that he's seen at this point championship by how many points?
146, and that's over a guy who's won 3 times this season.
Exactly. So if that doesn't go to show you how consistent this 10 car is, I don't know what else you need to look at. But Tim Gary is going for an absolute crazy season right now. We'll have to see if it can continue here today. As you can see, Keegan Thompson is absolutely working his way through this field. He is slicing and dicing as he's trying to get inside that top 10.
That's he started way back, 29th place for that number 5 car. He's moving his way. He's actually up inside the top 10 now because he's past that 36 of Evan Hunter. So Thompson looking like he has a pretty good car at this stage in the race. We'll see if it continues like that or if it starts falling off, if he's pushing it a little bit too hard. I wanted to go back and give an update on Mathis Wells because we look. He started 41st. You'd think he'd be moving up because he started on the inside. But we look, and there he is. Trey, where is that? That's 35th.
Yeah, that is not... don't know what they're missing on this 20 car this weekend, but it is a major hit, and he is not having a good time trying to slice through these guys. With the car he's in, he should be able to work his way up into the top, top 25 pretty easily, but he is definitely struggling right now.
Yes, he is. He's actually going to send
oh my goodness,
Laura Chung nearly up into Drew Webb, getting a little bit impatient, maybe a little bit agitated behind the wheel, knowing, listen, I'm in a Joe Gibbs racing car, and it's not working right now. But for his teammate Chris Jericho, who started well, it's not working for him either. He fell back, hasn't been able to get down in line, and Jericho's outside the top 25 as well, nearly outside the top 30. So for Joe Gibbs Racing here today, it's not been good at all, with Mathis still stuck back here. Jericho from his top 10 starting spot won this race last season. He's outside the top 30 now at this point. Look at this.
Oh my goodness, this group of cars right here. Something about them does not, I'm not liking it right now because they are way too close and way too jumpy for it to be a clean racing right now. As you can see, multiple times there was almost contact. The 18's going to send it on the inside of that 48. The 24 checks up in front of Wells right there. I mean, what is going on?
I mean, look at the names, though, that are back here running around 30th place. You have 3 Hendrick Motorsports cars. You have 2 from Joe Gibbs Racing, and you have 2 from Roush up here. I mean, this is just chaotic stuff, and they're racing around drivers like, the Evernham cars. They're racing around Max Davis, Pre McShane. In front of them, Conrad Evans is there. There's Ahmed Walid. There's Colin Teague in front of them all. So, I mean, this is just showing that these guys back here, they are struggling here today. And for Mathis Wells, who enters 3rd in the point standings, this is the complete opposite of what he needs.
Yeah, it is not working out for him right now, but he is slowly starting to make his way in front of everyone here. So it might be starting to turn the tables. But I guess the question is, Joe, I know we're early in this race, but is the damage too hard to kind of scuff it all out here?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch out for, right? The leaders are pretty far ahead. Tim, Gary, and Luke Green are both up inside the top 5. There's Luke, he's up to 3rd. Tim up to 4th. They've both gotten around the number 2 of Justin Zidell. Well, Atkins still leads this race, but company is coming because Crown Jr. from pole is not letting him get away. That Penny Enterprises car, it looks fast here today, and right now he's gaining on the number 3 car. This 43 looks faster than Justin Atkins right now and could be challenging for the lead in the next few laps. So this 43 is strong, but if they start battling, Luke Rennie in 3rd wants laps led. He wants bonus points. If they get side by side, slow each other down, that 88 will definitely pounce, and he'll be aggressive in doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a question of who's more hungry to win, right? The 3 or the 43. So we'll have to see what comes out of that as Luke Rainey is slowly starting to pull away from Tim. It looks like Tim's getting a little bit of company behind him there with the 2. So we'll have to see how nice those guys all play together, as Luke Rainey actually might be slowly knocking his door out for this leader battle.
That door's going to open, and it might kick down because that 88 is coming pretty fast on the front 2, who are about a 10th apart. And then Luke just keeps closing in little by little every single lap. The 88's chopped it down to about a 1/3 of a second behind the number 3 and the 43. So this could be a 3-way battle for the lead before long as they race up the back straightaway. That 43, I think the 3 maybe gets into the quarter a little bit better, but I think he gets drive down the straightaways. That really helps. And I think it's because he's running a little bit higher, right? It looks like Trey, maybe not that much higher, but maybe a quarter of a lane, half a lane higher. And it's just getting him a little bit better runs off the corners up the straightaways.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how little bit of extra lane you need to take helps how much more on the straightaways, right? But it's just the way these cars race and the way this track's built, it just works out so much better to get that run off corner exit there, and that 43 is definitely utilizing it. The only thing is it might be slowly using up his tires a little bit more each time he does it, so we'll have to see what the fall off is come the end of this. But big fall off is what I'm seeing is that this 10 has a little bit of a train forming up behind him here.
Yes, he does, and he has a gap in front of him as well. Zaydel is closed right up and looking for the pass for the second straight lap into turns 1 and 2. This time I think he's far enough up, and he is. He's going to bring Wilson with him as well. So Zaydel moves back to 4th. Ryan Wilson for DEI, very good run for him. He's up inside the top 5 now, getting to 5th place around Tim Gary, who will fall to 6th for sure. Can he get in line? He couldn't turn it to the bottom, so DeLello will get the spot as well as they go through 3 and 4. So DeLello with a big move, but the 10 fighting in the second lane on the outside of 3 and 4. And he's trying to get clear for the 16 as the shorter way around the tri-oval. And now into the corner, DeLello's the inside again, and here comes Gary's teammate Evan Hunter. Will look to the inside and get by as well.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on with this 10 car, Joe, but he is falling like a rock right now, and it cannot be a good sight to see that whenever you see your championship rival up there in 3rd place racing for the lead, right? So something is definitely a miss on this 10 car here, and come pit stops, they're going to be looking to make a big swing one way or another to try to fix it as he gets back in front of that 28.
So get in line in 8th place, 5 spots behind Luke Rainey. It's now the battle for 9th is going on. Spurtube couldn't get it on Gary, and Kukulon's looking to get it on Spurleytube through turns 1 and 2. That's 9th and 10th on the racetrack. Riley holds Kukulon at bay for now. Martinelli, Thompson, Burnett just outside the top 10. Great run for Bibby Ruiz up inside the top 15 right now. You have Mitchell Collins running steadily inside the top 15. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. looking fast here today inside the top 20. Eli Bright struggling. He kind of moved up early on, has fallen back, though, over the course of this long run with his teammate Anthony Hernandez and Hunter Reed, who started all the way at the back at 40th. Hunter Reed challenging up inside the top 20, going for a 17th on Eli Bright. Meanwhile, Mathis Wells has made little progress up to 29th place. He's got by Richardson, he's got by his teammate Chris Jericho, but otherwise, he's still behind drivers like Chen and Webb, Ahmed Wallad, Lord Chung, Conrad Evans, and drivers that, he could be ahead for sure. He has the car to maybe do it. The problem is he didn't have the track position, and he's struggling right now in that number 20 car in the dirty air.
Yeah, he's not having a good time of it right now, but there's still plenty of time in this race to gain some spots here, do a little bit of damage control. So don't count yourself out yet, as Tim Gary has more company, maybe a little contact. That was a little closer than I think they were wanting it to be. But again, it just seems like once this 10 car gets, all clear by himself, he kind of just settles out and is continuously slower than anyone else behind him here.
Riley Spurtube is, I think, getting a little bit impatient right there. He's really closed up on that number 10 car. He's getting really close to him through the corners, but can't find the way to the inside to get around him. Again, aggressive into the corner, but just can't get to the inside. Meanwhile, further forward, Ryan Wilson moved to 4th by Zaydel, who's back to 5th and almost got that spot taken from DeLello, who might get his spot taken from Evan Hunter in turns 3 and 4. The 16 keeps that spot for now. But you can see right here, Tim Gary has a train behind him with that 28 and the 29. This lap, he's going to fend off Spurtube for now because he's kind of fallen back into the clutches of the 29 car. But for sure, Tim right now not looking as strong as the 88 car up in front. In fact, he's now 2 seconds behind Luke Rennie, his nearest championship rival. But Trey, we're within about 5, 7, 8 laps of pit stop starting. We'll have to see what the strategy call is because the times have definitely fallen off. However, as mentioned, is not as crucial of a fall off as what we saw last race at Lowe's.
Yeah, definitely not. So we'll have to we'll have to see what all comes out of this. As you can see, the 29s try to make a move on Spurley right now, but wasn't able to get it done here. So the question is, who's going to be the first one out of these 3 to make a move one way or another and end up slowing them all down, just because that's how the racing seems to go here.
Here's a great battle for 5th just in front of them, and in fact, Zaydel might be falling off enough that the 10 is starting to lead those guys up to this battle for 5th place. Zaydel in the clutches of DeLello and Evan Hunter, with Tim Gary, Riley Spurtube, and Sebastian Kukulon trying to catch up as well. At the front, it's still just Nackins leading this race. He has a 2/10 of a second gap over Crown Jr. and half a second over Luke Rainey. Battle for 6th. Evan Hunter going to take it from DeLello in turns 1 and 2. Could bring Tim Gary down to the inside as well. Trying to get the drive off. I think I saw that car jump sideways because he got into the gas and just couldn't get to the inside. DeLello should keep that spot over Tim Gary. That's 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th as Hunter gets away in 6th.
Tim Gary's got to be careful here. You can't check up too much behind this 16 because that's going to allow that 28 to dive to the inside of him. So, if he wants to play it safe, I understand that, but it might hurt you at the end of it, right? So he's got to be very cautious on how he wants to get this pass done.
Battle back here as Baby Rose has moved up to 12th place. Thompson loses 13th to Collins. And now in a battle for 14th with his teammate Matthew Burnett. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. trying to get up inside the top 15, and so is Hunter Reed, who started at the back of the field, but that 45 looks fast right now as Mathis Wells has still only moved up to 27th. He has gained a few more spots, but struggling still back there in 27th and about 20 spots behind the leader in the points, Tim Gary. So for Mathis Wells, if Talladega didn't knock him out and if Lowe's didn't knock him out, Kansas could be the one to knock him out of championship contention. But still about half the race left and a pit stop to make as Tim Gary's trying to get by DeLello into turns 3 and 4, jumps to the inside. And Riley Spurtube and Sebastian Kuklon trying to follow through on the inside as they go through turns 3 and 4. Gary getting aggressive on the inside, but DeLello powers on the outside of 3 and 4.
We'll have to see. I think everyone's going to find their way back to the inside. The 29, though, is going to take the shot here and go past Riley on the inside line here. You can see the flames coming out of the side of it. He has to let out of the throttle that much now. With this being this late into the run, that's just how much where the tires are that they gotta let off a lot more than what they're used to.
Evan Hunter looks like his car very good in the long run. Just moved to 5th by Zidell. The front three still staying out as we're in the window. Who's the first one to make a move on to pit road? So far, no one is looking to do it. Big Brew is looking for a pass on Martinelli, but every single person right now, Trey, is staying out on the racetrack. I'm surprised maybe Mathis Wells hasn't tried it, but look at this. No one has come down quite yet. We're in the window, but no one's biting.
Yeah. Who is going to be the first one to come down pit road, do the undercut based on everyone else, and really make it worth it? Got a little bit of different lines here. Maybe we got people coming in.
Leaders are coming in first. How about that? So Luke Rainey's going to stay out. He's going to get a lap lead for 5 points. So how about that for Luke? But everyone, look at this. This is more than half the field coming in right now. Mathis Wells and Tim Gary among them.
You know, honestly, it might not be a bad idea to stay out with how congested this pit road's going to be right now, right? So we'll have to see. Plus, like you mentioned, smart from Luke Rainey to go get those 5 points for leading that lap there. So I think that was definitely a point strategy call here. We'll have to see how good of a pit stop Tim Gary can get here.
Clean on to pit road so far. As a wide enough pit road, everyone took care of each other. We'll see how Atkins and Crown Jr. do as well. The 3 is leaving, gone and away. Ryan Wilson with a good stop. He gained some. Crown Jr. is going to leave with the 3 and could lose that spot to the 15 if he's not careful. There's the 10 coming out. Pretty normal stop. It didn't look like anything too bad as Burnett has stayed out even longer. So Burnett is now leading this race. Getting a lap lead right there for that 25. He should be in this lap. But Atkins leaves out in front. Crown Jr. is company from Ryan Wilson in 2nd place behind. And now we'll see how this group of cars fares on pit road. Like Luke Rainey, who came in 3rd. Stayed out to get a lap lead. Got those 5 points. Here he is now leaving. We'll see where he comes out in relation to the 3 and the 43 and the 15. What this extra lap on the racetrack does to the 88. There's the 3 already coming by. So Atkins should have a pretty solid gap over the rest of the field now.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think Luke Rainey's going to lose many spots. He looks like he's going to come out 4th. So he loses 1 spot during that whole cycle there. But he's also got a lap fresher tires than everyone else. So we'll have to see if that plays a factor. He might lose another spot here with the hard charging 36 Evan Hunter coming. He's got his tires warmed up same as the 2, but Tim Gary is right there in sight. So there's still a little bit of gap between him and Luke. So I don't think Luke has to worry too much.
No, but for sure, those 5 points will help, but they won't help if the 10 finishes in front. So Luke needs to get going now. I know he's trying to get his tires up to temperature and get back out there, but for sure that 1 lap has really hurt him. It got him those 5 points, but it's lost him a lot more than 5 points on the racetrack. So he needs to recover and get those spots back. As at the front, Atkins will now cycle back up to the lead. He has a 2nd advantage over Roberto Crown Jr. Then Ryan Wilson is right with the number 43. Then you have Evan Hunter 4th, Zidell 5th, Luke Rainey 6th, and Tim Gary 7th. So Luke and Tim right together. Baby Ruiz is up inside the top 10 now to 8th with Collins in 9th. DeLello in 10th, under fire from Riley Spurtube. Martinelli stayed out longer like the 88. He's currently in 12th. There you can see right here, Laura Chung and Hunter Reed have moved by. Fitzwater who's fallen back. Eli Bright trying to get spots, and what a stop for Mathis Wells' team. He's up inside the top 20 now, Trey. So Mathis Wells, great pit stop and trying to close in on the top 15 in front of him.
Yeah, definitely. His day is slowly starting to get a little bit better each and every lap that goes by here. So that's definitely what they need to have happen.
Contact, 2 red cars. Eli Bright and Laura Chung came together, but Eli lifted, let the 19 recover, and Laura Chung saved her race car. That was a an aggressive move by Eli Bright, but also it was good for Eli to just let off there and let the 19 save.
Yeah, that could have been disastrous. And talk about throwing a big wrench into the plans here. Imagine a caution this late into the race right after pit stops happen, Joe. What could that have done to the outcome of this race?
Well, what it's doing right now, Roberto Crown Jr. is a faster race car after pit stops. He's going to pass Justin Atkins on the racetrack, so the pole sitter is back out in front here at Kansas. Atkins will fall in behind in second place. Now can he get back by the 43, stay with the 43, and if they keep on like this, watch for Ryan Wilson, watch for Evan Hunter, Justin Zeidel, Luke Rennie, and Tim Gary, because they're close enough to close in if these guys keep slowing each other down by battling.
This is going to get an entertaining race right here. I don't think the 3 is going to let that 43 get too far out in front of him here. I think he's going to stay right up on him. Actually, you know what? I think that 43 is just getting so much better on corner, apex to corner exit that it's hard for Justin to stay up with him.
How about Crown Jr.? It's not just that qualifying speed that he had here this weekend. He has legit race pace here in that number 43 car, and it's shown with Petty Enterprise as a whole. I know Hunter Reed qualified poorly, but he's moved up from his 40th place starting spot up to 15th. So Hunter Reed, the other Petty Enterprises car, pretty strong here today, and right now showing it with his race, and right now in a battle with drivers like Lord Chung, Eli Bright for spots inside the top 15. Someone I really want to watch for, though, is Ryan Wilson. Can this number 15 move through the 3-car of Atkins and possibly gain enough to get up there and challenge with the 43 and win this race? And I'd also watch for Evan Hunter. That car was so strong on the first long run of this race, and before the weekend doing media, he said, I just want to get back to victory lane. I want to win another race. It's been since Las Vegas earlier this season. His teammates up there in the battle for the championship, but Evan Hunter wants to battle for wins to end out the season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what else does he have to do now throughout the last couple of races of the season other than to go for wins? You might as well swing as hard as you can and try to, hit a home run. So looks like he is in the position to do that if he doesn't throw his race car away by junking it.
I thought all 3 of them were going out right there, because I thought the 15 was going to get into the 3 and the 36 was going to get into the 15. They're all going to go into the turn 1 wall. Luckily, though, they all stayed off each other, but I think Ryan Wilson definitely faster than the 3. Great corner exit off 4, jumps to the inside. Should have this pass made easily in the middle of 1 and 2, and he'll leave himself enough laps to catch that 43 car as Luke Rennie moves by Zeidel back there for 5th place, trying to get another car between he and Tim Gary, but I think Tim's going to move by as well in turns 1 and 2. So those two staying together, basically bumper to bumper. The only difference between them 1 spot, and Luke with those 5 extra bonus points.
Yeah, so I think Luke Rennie is just stay in front of Tim Gary mode right now for the rest of these laps unless he gets presented with an opportunity that he can do something else. I think that's the safest route to go, right? And as you can see, the 2 is battling back to get Tim Gary, so that's going to help Luke Rennie gain his gap on the 10 car. So this is what Luke likes to see, and this is what's going to make Tim Gary a little mad.
And remember, Luke on the better tires, 1 lap over all these guys. It's Evan Hunter. He has a faster car than Wilson and Crown Jr. right now, going low. He'll get the 2nd spot from Ryan Wilson. So Crown Jr. leads this race, but company is coming because the 36 is closing in, has a faster race car. The audience picked to win, and if you look at his stats at Kansas, Trey, you would think, how is he doing this right now? No finish better than 24th, an average finish of 31st here at the Kansas Speedway, but Evan Hunter is up inside the top 2. But watch Luke Rennie, the better tires, move by Wilson up to 4th and going for 3rd on Atkins.
This 88, I don't know what happened, but in the last couple of laps, Joe, he flipped a switch, and he is absolutely cruising right now. You know that 36 sees that, so Evan Hunter's going to be pushing a little bit harder. Luke Rennie's going to be pushing a little harder. Your leader, he's already pushing as hard as he can.
Crown Jr. wants a win for the first time since 2001 at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. That one came on crazy strategy. Here today, it could come on raw pace out of that number 43. He leads off turn 2. Petty Enterprises has had close calls here in the past. We'll see if Crown can get the car to the victory lane here today. But Hunter is closing in. Luke Rennie on better tires is closing in. Remember, the winner of a race this season gets more points than ever before in the Nextel Cup Series. Luke has to be thinking about that right now. He already has 3 wins this season. A 4th could really help him with Tim Gary in 7th place.
Yeah, 100% here. And Tim Gary's got a lot of opportunity to gain some positions ahead of him. You can see the train of 3 cars, but does he have the wheels and tires and speed underneath him to do that? It looks like a little bit of a gap's being grown between him and the 2 car, but right now this 36 Evan Hunter is all over the back of the 43. But remember, Joe, if these guys get side by side and start the battle, that's only going to reel Luke Rennie in.
And you know, if Evan gets by Crown Jr., the 43 is not going to let him get away. He's going to try and fight back for all it's worth. And if they keep, battling back and forth, it could really cause Luke to close in. A second separates the top 4 with 8 laps to go, 7 at the line. Hunter is all over Roberto Crown Jr. 2 dodges, fighting for the win here at the Kansas Speedway. Which one will come out on top, or will it be one of the others behind to try and stun? Give an update on Matheus Wells. It's been a bad run for him. Now he's back to 21st. So his car's starting to fall off a little bit. Maybe the drivers who pitted a little bit later starting to come through on their better tires. Wells right now in 21st place, making no impressions on the top 20 cars. At the front, Crown Jr. struggling off turn 2. Evan Hunter right to his back bumper. Up the back straightaway, 7 laps to go. He's basically pushing Crown Jr. into turns 3 and 4. And Luke Rennie, half a second back, is going battle, battle, battle. And I'll be right there to battle with both of you.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a very, very good outcome to this race, however it ends up going. As you can see, the 36s are slowly all over the back of him, but the real question is, where is he going to make a move, or how is he going to make the move? Because it seems like with the majority of these cars, like as soon as you get up to the back of them, you can't really generate a run to get past them.
Yeah, it's hard. You mentioned you get to them, but catching is one thing, passing is another. This could be an opportunity. The 43 kind of missed the bottom through turns 3 and 4. Hunter got a great run off turn 4, all over the bumper into the tri-oval. Can he make a pass, a move, going into turns 1 and 2? We'll have to see. Hunter all over, but can't make the move. 5 laps to go, and Luke Rennie now a third of a second back. This is really tightening up here at the Kansas Speedway. Hunter trying anything to get by the pole sitter Crown Jr. as they race off turn number 2.
Luke Rennie gained 2/10 on that lap alone on these two drivers. So if that doesn't show you that this 88's coming fast, I don't know what else you need to see. But, Joe, I think the moment that this 88 gets to the back of Evan Hunter, it's really going to push him. Maybe he doesn't need it.
There we go. Evan Hunter went high, a little bit higher in turns 3 and 4. Got the run on corner exit. Now he gets the run into turns 1 and 2 on the bottom. Slows them both down. Here comes Luke Rennie. Evan Hunter clears to lead the race, but Luke Rennie is there. He's going to take second away. Can he get it fast enough to then close in on Evan Hunter for the race victory? Crown Jr. fights back on the outside, not letting him get away, but Luke needs to make this pass now to have a shot at Evan Hunter because we only have 3 laps to go at the line.
It's not going to happen this set of corners, Joe. This 43 is going to get a run on the top side here, get them even back up. This is going to bring the 3 and the 2 back into this battle as well. Luke Rennie needs to get this pass done as quickly as he can. He needs to dive it into 1 and 2 here. He's going to do just that, Joe. He cleared him.
So Luke Rennie up to second place. Big points day for him if he can hold right there. Crown Jr. back to third. Might fall into the clutches of Justin Atkins and Justin Seidel. That's third. Fourth and fifth, Tim Gary in 6th. It's solid. It's not great with Luke Rennie up there in second place, but it's enough to keep Luke at arm's length. 2 laps to go for Evan Hunter, Tim Gary's teammate, trying to win for the first time since Las Vegas earlier this season. Another mile-and-a-half racetrack. Evan Hunter, did he call a shot here today from 17th place on the grid? Could Evan Hunter win at the Kansas Speedway white flag, this time behind the Banquet 400?
I'm looking, Joe. I just don't think there's enough time for Luke Rennie to get back up to the back of this 36 and make a move with the way that is when it's just a 1 car versus 1 car. I don't think Luke Rennie's going to be able to do it.
Matheus Wells is back in 23rd place at the white flag. Final lap. Luke did close in as Seidel makes it past Atkins. Could bring Tim Gary up to the top 5. There's about a quarter of a second between the front 2. Luke did close in, but once again, it's been hard to pass cars here today. Off turn 2 for the final time. Hunter keeps the gap consistent up the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. It's going to be his 2nd victory of the season and his 2nd victory in a non-drafting oval as they work through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Evan Hunter is the winner of race number 29 here at the Kansas Speedway. Luke Rennie gained points on Tim Gary, but Tim Gary for the 3rd straight race tray ends up finishing inside the top 5.
That was there was a lot of stories going into that thing, and there was a lot of stories coming out of it too.
Well, how about this, Trey? The audience pick wins this race here today. Evan Hunter, 37% of the people picked him. I guess they saw something, and they said, you know what? He's the guy we're going to pick, and Evan Hunter, he delivered it today, even though he started a little bit mid-pack. That 36 car was fast.
Is this the first time Picks won?
What was that?
Is this the first time the audience picks won?
It might be. It might honestly be the first time the audience pick has won.
Look at that. Go you guys.
Yeah, how about that? They knew something about that 36 here today, and Evan Hunter drove it to victory lane here at the Kansas Speedway. But how about Luke Rennie and Tim Gary? They keep trading blows back and forth, Trey, and I mean, it's like they can't get away from each other.
I mean, I'm all right with that. That makes it more entertaining for us up here and the fans watching, in the crowd or at home. So I am not going to complain from that, but it's just going to make that battle heat up more and more with each race.
Yes, it is, and unfortunately for Luke, he does finish better than Tim, but it's not by much. He will gain points on Tim, but Tim is keeping it close enough to Luke right now that he doesn't have to worry quite yet. As we take a look at the finishing results from the Banquet 400 here at the Kansas Speedway, Evan Hunter, the one on top at the end, winning by about a quarter of a second as Luke Rainey gets to second at the end. Tried his best to use the better tires, but I think they just kind of ran out of juice there by the end. Roberto Crown Jr. led a lot of laps, but ends up in third, getting past late by Evan Hunter. Fourth place, Justin Zeidel, definitely the most solid race maybe of his entire season. His average finish in the last 7 races, 25.9. His average finish here at Kansas, 30.3. So Justin Zeidel delivered here today in a big way. And Tim Gary, top 5 finish, had never finished inside the top 5 here at Kansas. In fact, Luke Rainey up in second had never finished inside the top 10 here at Kansas, but they both delivered when it mattered most. And Tim Gary, for the 3rd straight race, gets a top 5 finish. That number 10 car is firing on all cylinders. The only problem, he does lose some points to Luke Rainey here today. Atkins ends up inside the top 10 as well in 6th. Ryan Wilson carries the banner for DEI with a 7th. DeLello ends up in 8th. Riley Spiritu 9th. And Jordan Stout inside the top 10. Never really talked about the drivers behind the front 7. Those top 7 really had pulled away from the rest of the field. Eli Bright solid in 11th. Laura Chung came from a little bit further back, gets 12th. Kukulan and Collins and Martinelli, so all 3 of the Penske Jasper cars kind of strong here today. Anthony Hernandez, one of his best races as of late, gets 16th. Baby Rose had a fast car with 17th. Keegan Thompson, Jay Randall, and Hunter Reed all complete the top 20. And Matheus Wells could not move any further forward. He ends up in 23rd here today. And for him, that could be the final blow in the championship. The wreck and the damage at the Talladega Speedway, the slow car at Lowe's, and now the inspection failure, not being able to recover from that. I think Matheus Wells could be well out of this championship fight, and it could just be down to Tim Gary and Luke Rainey with 3 races left. And we look down, Matthew Burnett kind of struggled there in the second half, so did Belladonna. Chris Jericho struggled after starting inside the top 10. Sarah Kircher from the back couldn't really recover much. Lathan Strickland and Jerry Chen both really fell back. Conrad Evans from 5th ends up in 38th here today. Fitzwater, remember, is up inside the top 15. He ends up falling to finish in 39th here today in that number 32. And the last 2 cars were the zeros. 00 Prix McShane, 0 Henry Guo finished back in 41st and 42nd here today at the Kansas Speedway. As now we take a look at the points, 29 races in, 3 races to go. Tim Gary still the points leader by over 100 points. Luke Rainey trying to close in, but Trey, he needs something very big to happen over these final 3 races for him to close in enough to have a shot for that championship.
Yeah, it's not over till it's over, right? But it's with each race down, it's going to get harder and harder. So we'll have to see if Tim Gary can hold on, or if Luke Rainey's going to be able to, kind of make a last surprise entrance here. But I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Well, how about with 3 races left in the season, we head into the unknown of the Homestead Miami Speedway. You may say, Homestead? What's unknown about that? It's just a flat 1.5-mile racetrack where track position means so much. Well, it's different. In the offseason, they revamped the racetrack. They redid it. It's now a higher banked racetrack as variable banking in the corners. What that means, more banking up by the wall, less banking down by the apron, hoping to create some multiple groove racing at that racetrack. So it's the same shape, same length, same layout, but different banking, newer asphalt. It's going to be crazy to see how the Ford 400 plays out next race at Homestead, Trey. Something unlike anything these drivers have dealt with throughout their Nextel Cup Series careers.
Yeah, it's going to be as level as a playing ground as you can get, right? I don't know how these drivers are going to prep to go into a place like this. I don't know if they can really prep to go into a track like this, especially with the new layout. So it's going to be it'll be interesting to see how everything unfolds during practice and qualifying next weekend, and then eventually into the race. And it's going to be a fun thing to watch.
Well, you gotta know if one of Luke Rainey or Tim Gary, nails it, and the other one struggles, could really, change that championship. It could lock Tim Gary the championship up practically, or it could make Luke Rainey really gain in on Tim Gary's points lead. So we'll have to see how it plays out next time out on JRTV from the Homestead Miami Speedway. But today, it's about Evan Hunter with the second victory of the season, winning today at the Kansas Speedway. Congratulations to he and the 36 team on a fast race car here today. For Trey Bardow and Joe Rokowski, so long from the Kansas Speedway, but tune into JRTV next weekend for the Ford 400 from the Homestead Miami Speedway.